Hey, you all, it's me, Samantha Letois. Welcome back to UCTV. Today is Monday, July 20. And before to continue, congratulations to Independence on Colombia. We are so proud around the world, and this is the time to celebrate. And remember, we are here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 4 p.m. on a fan page on Facebook Live for Unity Coalition. And remember that 5 p.m. on Instagram and YouTube so you don't miss any season for this spectacular TV show. And let me remind you that this is the last time, honey. We are in the few days just to register. Go and register because your vote count and make impact and change for our community for the future. We need you. Let's make a change and go and register to vote because it's the last a few days so you can count, honey. So your vote is ready. For all of you, let me remind you that Elevate Virtual Summer Camp is here. Remember, every Thursday, 7 p.m. on a fan page for Facebook Live and the Unity Coalition because it's free and fabulous. You want to get more information, go to the website unitycoalition.org. Elevate Virtual Summer Camp this Thursday, dancing with the Campy Camp counselor Gael Garcia Bernal in your home, and the 2020 Sunshine Virtual Film Festival. What not to love? Thursday, July 23rd, 7 p.m., presenting Emma, the incendiary portrayal of a youth woman in the rebellion. So, honey, it's free, it's fabulous, and you want to get your free pass, go to the website and Ocean Film Globe 1 and buy your ticket for Emma, 12 general admission and 10 for promo code Elevate 2020. So you want to get some discount, honey, put that promo code Elevate 2020 and access to the movie. So don't forget this Thursday, 7 p.m., Ocean Film, Unity Coalition all together to continue Elevate Virtual Summer Camp. And for the numbers are getting high, COVID-19, just protect yourself and protect your lover. This is not the time, and you have to keep wearing your mask. This is not over. Continúa utilizando tu máscara porque esto no se ha terminado. Los números siguen creciendo y por eso queremos que se cuiden mucho. Just wear it, honey. Just wear it. It's me, Samantha Letois, and remember that this is UCTV every 4 p.m., every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 p.m. here on Facebook Live. And remember, October 1st to the 15th, we're going to have Celebrate Orgullo, so you go and check it out. CelebrateOrgullo.com, Miami first Hispanic, Indigenous, and Pride Festival since 2011. Just remember, Celebrate Orgullo, October 1st to the 15th. So we're going to have a party. We can celebrate. And remember, create your mask so you can be a part of the global story. Honey, put your mask on because I need you to. Put your mask on. So today we're going to talk about spirituality in the queer community. What's your faith? What do you believe? What's going on, honey? Yes, because there's something powerful and you need that powerful. So Queer Spirituality 101, a community discussion with Pastor Harold Marrero, which is we have it here. Pastor, thank you so much for be with us. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, I feel so blessed right now to have you here, Harold. Thank you. How are you? Thank you so much, Harold. Can you hear me, Pastor?
Yes, there we go.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yes. So as I said, thank you so much for accepting this invitation. And I know that more of our LGBT community and the queer community, we want to know more because we need just to, especially in this time that everything is depressed and we are having a hard time. This is the right time just to continue fighting for our belief, right? So thank you, Pastor, for being with us.
Yes, thank you so much for including us. As you know, I've well, maybe some of you don't know this, but I've done this before with Unity Coalition. I did it at one of the few elevates that we did, and it's I've brought together some folks from the spiritual communities here in Miami to talk about faith and spirituality. Yeah. So I'm happy to be back, and I'm excited to present to you all today.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Now I remember. Yeah, I saw a video of you in Elevate. Yes, I
Yes,
remember.
yes.
So thank you so much, and welcome back to the community and the family for Unity Coalition. I know you're being involved. So, Pastor, let
Mhm.
me ask you something. I have just a quick question for you, just to start with this conversation and panel discussion about queer spirituality one on one. Can you tell me what is like queer spirituality? What it means for people?
So for me, queer spirituality is the expression of how you connect with the higher power, or even how you connect with your authentic self. Queer spirituality ranges from all the established religions that we have in the world today, and it doesn't really discriminate into what faith community you grew up with. I think that a lot of us in the queer community have had a hard time growing up in certain faith traditions and making sense of our own sexualities and our own identities. And we are here to share with you all that it is okay to be queer, and it is okay to also be a spiritual person. Both can coexist, both can strengthen one another, and there is no reason why you must choose one or the other.
Okay, okay. Just to have an idea is what you believe and what you have inside. Pastor, this is just a personal question. Do you think that maybe because we are gay, transgender, bisexual, any of how we identify, probably we are created by the name of God. God created us.
Mhm.
But do you think that that's a good reason that we can be accepted in the community as our belief? Our religions, because most of the time, before to continue, most of the time some of the religions, they do not accept LGBT community members into their places. So what is your recommendation?
So I believe that we're all created in the image of God, and all of us are part
Amen.
of God's queerness, because God is all of us combined together. I feel that yes, sometimes and a lot of times, our the faith is that the faith that we grew up in has been very toxic, has been very hurtful, and it hasn't given us a safe space for us to explore who we are and also explore our faith alongside it. I believe that that is changing, and I want us to have these kinds of conversations so that we can truly find a queer way of being spiritual, a way that is not hurtful to us, a way that allows us to heal from the hurt that has been caused to us, and a way that allows us to connect with one another on a higher level of thinking, and just in a way that showcases who we truly are inside.
Pastor, now I want you just to be, I know that you being a part of Unity Coalition. I want you to introduce our other pastor. Just go ahead. This is your time.
Sure. So with us today, we also have Pastor Chris Wilson from Mosaic Unity, and we also have Pastor Kip Nelson, who is a pastor here at First United Methodist Church of Miami.
So welcome, Pastor Chris, and welcome, Pastor Kim. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit what are you doing for the community and what is so special just to have this role as a pastor for LGBT community, Chris?
So honestly, one of the things is, as somebody who is non-binary and queer, I have had a long time of being rejected by churches, and I grew up in kind of a faith where that wasn't accepted. But I knew I had a calling from an early age, and the problem was the church rejected me, but God never did. And the fact is that God didn't reject me, but I ended up out of the church and not even Christian for 20 years because the church was the image of God to me. And I was able to dismantle that and see that it is people who reject us, not God. And so for me, I feel very called to reach out to those of us who feel harmed by the church, who feel like we have been through the kinds of things where we see the image of God in only the people of the church and not ourselves. So that woundedness is something that calls to me as someone who is now a clergy member.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's very powerful just to know. Kip, Pastor Kip, what you can say about this? How is that beautiful action just to be in the religion and representing the LGBT community, queer community?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I am Kip Nelson. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, in a very non-LGBTQ friendly place. And throughout my spiritual journey, I have found the power of God in community and also in the church. As an openly gay person in the United Methodist Church, that's a very interesting reality because our broader system does not quite affirm and accept us. So part of the work that I do is fighting for LGBTQ inclusion within my own church system here in the South, particularly of the United States, but really in the global denomination that I'm a part of as well. I tell people all the time that I'm here in this to help those who have not found what I've found. Those people who are still sitting in the pews of churches who have been harmed by religion and church. And I hope that others might experience the love and life that I found in my own spirituality. So that's why I'm here, and that's kind of the work that I do.
Thank you so much, Pastor Kip, for amazing introduction. I want to ask you something personally. What is your recommendation for somebody that is a LGBT, and let's say that this person is lost into the spirituality, doesn't know where to go, if it's the right or to the left? What is that recommendation for you, for this person, identify and find that right pathway into, let's say, into the religion, into the life of God?
So what I would recommend is that they look for a place, a community that is accepting and is also affirming of who they are completely as a totality of their person. There are many spiritual communities out there who have what we call a bait and switch, in that they welcome you in and they say that you're welcome into their communities, but they slowly start to switch that message around into one that wants you to change in order for you to be completely accepted into the greater community of that spiritual community. I feel that for someone who wants to either reconnect with their spiritual practices of how they were raised, or wants to find a new place where they can express their spirituality, to find somewhere that is fully accepting and fully affirming of them and won't want them to change in the future, or want to change the message around on them. And there are a lot of places and there are a lot of churches and temples, Jewish temples, and other community groups that are very affirming and very welcoming to all of us who are in the queer community.
That's good to know. More and more members do not identify as a queer, but every time that we are getting more and more involved into the community, there are so many people that come in and say like, "Oh, I'm that, I'm this." So welcome all to the community. This is your part of your family, and I hope that you find that way just to connect with God, because we all need God and we are a creation of God. Pastor Chris, I have a question for you. What is your thought about intersexuality and liberation for theology?
So, one of the biggest things is understanding that one marginalized identity doesn't mean that we are masters of understanding our own privilege. And one of the faults I see is that while we have very wonderful communities, we also are more likely to see our own marginalization. We see where people have harmed us because of whatever label we hold. But we have to also remember that there are other people who hold multiple labels, that maybe they are queer and disabled, maybe they are a person of color or indigenous or black, and they are also LGBTQ. And we have to remember that each one of these identities also holds the image of God. God is this plurality of all of us together, all of the divinity within each of us, and we all are called to be the keeper of our siblings. We are called to understand that we do not succeed without lifting all of us up together. And to me, that is the liberation. It's not just getting one of us, a little bit more privilege in society. It's dismantling the toxic systems that say that there should be a hierarchy. It is taking that away and saying each and every and that by dismantling these systems, we can rise together as all being children of God.
Yes, and if I can actually add to what Chris was saying, I feel like our society today has become extremely divisive and wants us to choose between one camp or the other camp, and wants us to stay in those camps completely isolated and siloed in those two camps. I feel like, but what being queer has taught me is that there is always a queer way of doing something, and the queer way is doing something that what your enemy least expects you to do, and that is to love one another, and that is to bring both sides to the center and talk about our the issues that we share, the our ability to connect, and our ability to try to understand each other fully and authentically. And as a queer person, I don't want to be forced to choose one side or the other. I want to be around people who challenge me. I want to be around people who make me a better person. And I want to be around people who celebrate me completely for who I am. And I feel that the church today and a lot of spiritual communities today they need an enemy to challenge. They need someone to be the person that they're going against, because that forms a sense of unity for the members. But that's not a way to live. I mean, for us Christians, Jesus says to love our enemy, because when we love our enemy, we fully understand our enemy. And how can you hate someone that you fully understand? That's impossible. So I feel like that is the challenge of what it means to be queer. And as we continue to expand what that means, we continue to bring more and more people to the table. So that's really what's so amazing about what we're doing and in the interchange of ideas. Kip, do you want to add something to this?
Sure. So as we talk about the LGBTQ plus community and our faith journeys, I think we've all named at this point the harm that often is associated with religion. And so as we even begin to talk about the queer community within spirituality, we have to recognize that there are these oppressive forces that are keeping people down, that have taken, and I would even say stolen the life out of people. And so as a community, the LGBTQIA plus community, we have to recognize that we are all longing to be liberated from something. Even though those forces that we're talking about might be in a Christian community, they might be in a Muslim community, they might be in other different communities, we are all being oppressed in some way. And so we have to come together in unity in the fact that we long for each other to be freed from oppression and from the harm that has been done. And one of the things I'm really inspired by within the racial justice movement that's happening across our country right now is this notion that no one is free until we are all free. And we as queer people should know this and take full advantage of this opportunity, knowing that we've not been free for many things. But as we recognize the injustice and the harm that's been done, we also have to recognize those who might not have even as much privilege as I do, right? As a white male who is gay, I have to recognize that I have more privilege than many of my siblings within my own community. And so I have to recognize that someone else within my community might need more support and more allyship to help liberate them from their own experiences as well. And so as we talk about queer spirituality and liberation, we have to come to it knowing that, one, we're all longing for justice and we're all working for justice. But we all have layers of identities that can prop us up or put us down. And I think as oppressed people, we have to do our work to recognize the weight that other people are carrying as well.
Yes, and to add to what Kip is saying, there's a concept called intersectionality in the queer community, and that is a concept that looks at who we are and the labels that we carry with ourselves. For example, I am a gay Hispanic male. So my experiences of being gay are also tied with being Hispanic, with being a male, with being Christian, with being Cuban. So I have all these things that make me who I am, and in those layers that makes me me, I connect with other people who are also in this, who are also part of the same layers. When we talk about intersectionality, we're talking about how can we start to break down these fake and false walls that we put up in between each other and start to really try to understand each other from the points that we connect, that is not, that goes beyond our primary label. To look at this simply, you know, as a queer man, I can connect with other queer people who are Muslim, who are Jewish, who are atheists, who are anything, because we are connected by our queerness. And in that connection, we can also understand that we can understand where they're being oppressed and how we can dismantle their oppression and help with the dismantling of their oppression until we are all free from any of the created oppressive powers that exist today. As queer people, we need to come together and realize that we all have to fight for each other's rights. Too many times, and Pastor Kip was talking about this before, we focus too much on the L, the B, and the G of the queer community. But while our trans siblings are being killed in the streets and not appreciated for who they are, while all the other queerness that exists are also not being accepted or even being looked at. So we must look at the variety that exists within the queer community and try to understand what makes us all individuals and what makes us all special, so that we can learn to liberate one another. Chris, do you want to add anything to that?
I fully agree with that. I think that one of the biggest challenges is understanding that our ability to, for example, micro label, which is often degraded within parts of the community, that these very specific identities that maybe are less known are completely valid because they give us a way of expressing our own place socially and in the world and as an individual and a child of God. But we also must recognize that these identities are both valued and part of something larger. So I think there is a balance that we have to reach, understanding and valuing each and every identity that is there, but also understanding that those do not separate us in ways that create that kind of polarity we're seeing in our society right now. Because it is so much you are all or nothing. It is a very, dichotomous black and white kind of idea that you are either with us or against us. And we lose nuance and we lose the ability to celebrate the absolute beauty and the differences we have.
So from there, I think that we can really talk about, how can we start to heal from the religious traumas that have affected us. Me myself, I grew up in a very small, well, it was medium-sized Hispanic church, and we were what we called closeted Southern Baptists, because we wouldn't say that we were Baptists, but we were Baptists. And then growing up in that community, I was constantly told that being gay was wrong, that the Bible is against me, that the Bible is against women, that the Bible is against all these things. And they would tell me this in Sunday school with a very happy face, like, yes, of course the Bible is anti-gay. Yes, of course the Bible is anti-women, and that's just the way that it is. And I rebelled against that because I just couldn't understand why, like, how can a God that created us in God's image then write something or put something in the Bible that says that, well, we are not welcome. We are not able to sit at the table with everybody else. So I want us to talk a little bit about that, Chris and Kip, about our own religious traumas and how we have been able to move beyond that and find healing about it, and how we can help others also find a sense of healing or even start the process of healing from that.
And I think it's very important to understand the layers of trauma. I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, and to be fair, it was progressive in that it broke away from the Southern Baptist Convention because they agreed to ordain women as children's ministers. And yet, I grew up in a family that was highly conservative. I grew up listening to conservative talk radio and Rush Limbaugh, and learned from a very young age that who I was not acceptable. And in learning that, I internalized this. And to be frank, I was a childhood abuse victim and had no one to turn to because the very people that I trusted as adults were telling me that everyone who was harmed and who was like me deserved to be harmed. And so it's a very toxic theology. And it's something that takes years to unpack and lots of work. But we can't do that work alone. We also have to understand that healing is done in community with one another, with the relationships we have. We can heal some things within a therapeutic format, but truly healing comes with realizing that we are welcomed by both community and by God again.
Kip, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I appreciate your experience and sharing vulnerably with us. Thank you. I think as we talk about the trauma, that's a strong word when we talk about religion, but I think it's a very important and accurate way to describe people's experience with faith and religion. As a gay person who was closeted and repressed for most of my own life, the word that comes to mind is shame. I had a lot of shame about the feelings that I had and about my own identity. And that was instilled in me by the church, by the religious community that I was a part of. And as my faith journey continued, that was something I had to work through the shame, because if any of you know, shame is crippling. It doesn't do anything good. And yet that's what I felt. Not only was it shame about, your identity, but it's also shame about, maybe who you hang out with or the things that you want to do in your free time. And so when you first, you have to recognize that there is shame there and that you did not put it there, that it has been placed upon you by the spiritual authorities, in a sense. And so as we talk about how do you begin to heal, I think one is recognizing that harm has been done, and that there is shame or there is just sincere hurt within you. And for me, I was fortunate enough to be studying theology at a seminary when I came out. And the reason I came out was because some spiritual authorities in my school validated my identity. They validated my human experience, which then gave me the empowerment I needed to step into this identity more fully and more freely. And so I think one way to heal is seeking out a spiritual authority that validates your experience. Too often in our world, people are not listened to. As Chris just talked about abuse, we have to validate people's experience who have been abused, who have been harmed in one way or another. So seeking out places and communities that validate your experience. But two, just communities, as Harold has talked about, people that love you unconditionally. Harold was actually a part of my own journey of kind of uncovering shame in my own life and not realizing how much it had crippled me. And so I think when you talk about healing, we've got to realize the harm that we hold within ourselves, the trauma, the scars, the wounds, and identify different communities and authorities that can validate our experience, but also offer us support as we work to navigate those wounds.
Yes, and as Kip was saying, it is so important for us to find a group of people or a community that we call family. Too many times being queer separates us from a lot of the norms that society exists. You know, like when as queer people, we stand the chance to be rejected at our schools, we stand the chance to be rejected at our homes, and we stand the chance to be rejected at our house or our places of worship that we attend. That those are the three parts that we all exist in. All can reject us and make us feel shame, make us feel unwelcome, and make us feel like we don't belong. I feel that when you find, as you grow up and you find a community of peers, a community of people that you call your chosen family, that is when you start to fully, like, really start the healing process. And if you find people who are also healing, who are also finding themselves in this new way of doing community and of doing family, you start to unravel a lot of the hurt and a lot of the toxicity that was put there by someone else, because none of us are born with that. We're all born a clean slate. So we are what it comes after that is the shame and the struggles of our previous generation that just transmit that to us. So it is up to us to break free from that. It is up to us to break the cycle so that we then don't do it to whoever we call family afterwards. And in community, that is what I hope to do with the group that we have, No Reservations. And as Kip said, Kip was part of this group when he first came down here to Miami. And all we did was just give Kip a community and tell Kip, you are loved, you are welcome, and we just love you. And the important thing is for us to find those communities that tell us exactly that. You're loved, you're welcome, and just be who you are. Be the best authentic self that you can be.
Guys, I would like to ask you something. I personal that we get some comments from our audience right now, Pastor Harold, Pastor Chris, and Keith. I would like to ask you this. Are there LGBT welcome places to fight for in South Florida?
Yes, actually, if you go to the website interfaithmiami.org, there you will find a list of welcoming and affirming groups, community groups, churches, and temples in South Florida. There are more that are not included on that list, but we are in the process of updating that list. And Kip's church is actually one of those in the list. And actually, with Chris, I'm working on another project that we're going to start to look at a much broader view of welcoming and affirming places. There are also some other resources online that you can look up, that you can look into. Chris or Kip, do you know that website that you can search zip code?
No, I don't. There's a website Clarity. Called Church Clarity is what I was about to talk about. Church Clarity is a website where if you're curious about a church and where they stand, you can go to churchclarity.com, I think it is, or is it .org? Don't remember. Just Google Church Clarity and it'll come up, I promise. There's a search bar. You just click, you type in the name of a worship community, and they will go through and if they've not already rated it, they will go and do their research. And then they will give every worshiping community a rating on whether they're affirming or non-affirming. And they just make it very clear. Also, not just about affirming in terms of the LGBTQ community, but where they stand about women and leadership and racial equality, all those things. So that's a great resource, Church Clarity.
And if you do know that there is a church that is open and affirming, or you can submit the information about that church for them to specifically review it.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect to know. Pastor Harold, I would like to ask you this in Spanish para nuestra comunidad. I know that you speak Spanish a little bit.
Sí.
Hay mucha de nuestra comunidad. I know Pastor Chris and also Kip, with your permission, just a little bit. We Unity Coalition has been in South Florida for a few years. This is for the Latin Hispanic community, and we want to encourage the Latin community just to get more in this kind of topic, like just to feel more powerful what we have with God, our personal relationship with God. Pastor Harold, en español, ¿qué me podría usted recomendar cortico para nuestra comunidad LGBTQ+, de aquí del sur de la Florida, que muchas veces venimos de otros países, como sabemos, somos inmigrantes y nos sentimos solos. Hay veces no tenemos a nuestras familias y queremos encontrar esa paz, queremos encontrar un camino mucho más que nos dé valor y que nos pueda seguir en la vida en la que estamos, y más en estas temporada del COVID-19, que nos sentimos solos, con mucha depresión y tantas cosas que están pasando, desempleo. Pastor Harold, ¿usted me podría decir o recomendar o decirnos para nuestro público cuál sería esa recomendación importante para poder encontrar una tranquilidad tanto interna como externa?
Yo creo que lo que tenemos que hacer primeramente es sentarnos y concentrarnos en qué es lo que nos hace a nosotros estar feliz. Yo sé que ahora en lo que está pasando con COVID-19 y sabe, toda la inseguridad que existe, no perdemos enfoque de quiénes somos nosotros y de quiénes somos nosotros en comunidad. Igual que lo que estamos diciéndonos en este segmento, nosotros tenemos que encontrar comunidad con personas que nosotros podemos vernos adentro de ellos y que son como un reflejo de quiénes somos nosotros también. Haciendo eso nos ayuda a conectar con personas que tenemos un shared identidad, una identidad compartida, sí. y que, sí, porque, perdón, mi español un poquito, yo nací en Cuba, pero vine aquí 7 años.
Felices de entender, así que continúen.
Y tener personas que podemos hablar completamente sinceramente, diciéndole, ¿sabe qué es lo que nos asusta? ¿Qué es lo que no tenemos mucha esperanza en lo que va a pasar? Y que nos ayude, que nada más que nos dé un espacio para desahogarnos y decirnos, no importa lo que tú piensas, tú eres aquí amado, siempre eres amado y tú eres un hijo o hija del universo que es tan inmenso. Tenemos que entender que no estamos solos en nuestra experiencia, que aunque la sociedad o el gobierno quiera decirnos que no debemos estar aquí, que nos quiere quitar, ¿sabe? Esa identidad de tener orgullo de quiénes somos y dónde venimos, tenemos que unirnos a otras personas que son iguales como nosotros. Es decir, nosotros estamos aquí, nosotros merecemos ser amados completamente, sin ninguna reservación. Y eso es lo que queremos nosotros hacer y queremos también dar a las otras personas, que amar a las otras personas sin tener ninguna reservación y sin verdaderamente solo tratar de entenderlos completamente de quiénes son ellos. Y si tenemos algo que nos activa, algo que nos hace sentir que no entendemos o que tenemos como preguntarlas y ser bien sincero en nuestra experiencia.
So now, thank you so much. That was our recommendation for our Latin community and Spanish speaker. You know, as I said, Unity Coalition is for Hispanic, Indigenous, and LGBT community. So we have everything here for the whole community. Questions. Maybe one of you can answer this. It is necessary to see something to believe. I know that it's like a weird question, but it's good to know. You know, I'm new in this, and I'm sorry, just say my personal relationship with God is just like, I don't need to touch nothing, and I don't need to see nothing just to feel like He's next to me. You know, it's every time that I feel Him and I just want to talk to Him, I just close my eyes and that's it. I don't need to go, personally for me, I respect, but I don't need to go church or some places just to feel that I'm stronger in my relationship with God. So that's what I was saying.
God is everywhere. And that is the big thing. God is within each and every one of us. And we have to honor the fact that some people are going to find God in the sunset, in the nature walks, in the beauty at the beach, in the storms, because God is in all of that. But we also understand that God is in the people. And if we forget to honor the God in every person that we meet, then we are forgetting to honor huge parts of what God is. But to say that we must see to believe, I think we must feel inside ourselves, and however we connect to the divine, whether that is seeing, whether that is holding someone we love, whether that's the look in someone's eyes when they fully accept who we are as complete beings of God. That I would say, from my experience, the first moment that I truly felt overwhelmingly and saw God was when the pastor who knew every one of my labels served me communion. And he saw me, he knew all of who I was no longer hiding my identities. He and I had talked, and he still served communion. And to me, that was the feeling of God. That was the moment that I was truly seen and accepted and loved. So I think it'll be different for each one of us, but I think there is an element of more we are being seen, we, and the element of God within us is being acknowledged.
Thank you, Pastor Chris, for that. Pastor Harold, would you like to add something?
Sure. When people ask me that question, I like to always put this into perspective. We are so small in the grand scheme of things. If you think about who we are one out of almost 8 billion people in this little planet that is circling a not so special star in a galaxy that is not so special, that is inside of another galaxy cluster, that is inside of a part of our universe that we have no idea what is beyond us. If you think about it with that sense, we are part of this stream of consciousness that we are able to look at the universe and look up into the sky and say, who are we? Why are we here? What is my purpose? The fact that we can do that already places us on a journey of self-discovery and self-exploration to really uncover who we are authentically, who we are when you eliminate the all the layers that have been put up upon us whether we are trauma, religious trauma, family trauma, the things that have hurt us. When you eliminate all that, who is it that is inside of us? Who are we authentically? And when we start to allow that to shine, when we start to allow our authentic selves to truly be the person that is reflected back outwards, I feel that when we do that, we are reflecting the God in us, the divinity that is inside of us all. And it doesn't matter what label you have at that point. It doesn't matter what you call yourself, whether Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, atheist. We're all reflecting the universe back at each other. We're all reflecting the authenticness of who we are. And that is how I would respond to that question of like, do you have to believe to see? No, you can believe by just seeing people be fully who they are, be fully activated by who they are. Kip, would you like to add something to that?
Yes. I think that's a great question. I think a lot of people are turned off of religion because they can't touch God, right? It's not something physical we can see. But I actually just preached a sermon yesterday about finding God and the questions. And I think, especially in the queer community and LGBTQ plus identities, we have a lot of questions, right? We've had a lot of struggles throughout our life. And for me, asking those questions and wrestling with my own life experience, in my opinion, brought me closer to God. So in a sense, like not being able to see is actually what made me feel closer to the divine, because what it did is it allowed me to connect with people who also had shared experiences that I had. And so as Harold and Chris have both shared, like seeing the image of God in other people, right? So I was actually able to see the image of God in other queer people before I was able to see the image of God in myself. And so I think there's power in the unknown. It's a profound thing. And so as we live in a very divided world too, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of bitterness and hatred and injustice in the world. And for me, I strive to just feel connected to people in general. Because as Harold mentioned, like that is God, as all of us reflect the divine. And so only when we come together and connect on a more deep level can we actually even believe that God is real, because we are image bearers of God. So.
Oh my God, you guys are make me feel so much close to my thought, my belief, and I'm so happy, especially at this time and especially today, Monday, that we just started like our week to work to do a kind of like a lot of things, but this is a great conversation, and I would love to see you again, guys, just to encourage our community, just to have more connections with God. What people believe doesn't worry, but just to have that connection, spirituality and mentally, because it is necessary for not only LGBT community, for all of us, for all human. We just want to love the way that love create and love us. um any recommendation right now? We have like almost 15 minutes just to finish our show, our amazing panel discussion. Any recommendations that Pastor Harold, Kip, and Chris would like to give into our community?
I think one thing I'd like to say to this is that I want to honor the trauma that people have experienced, the shame, whatever level it is. I want to honor that. And it's okay to not be okay going to church right now. That is still part of your journey. That is still part of your spiritual journey, because it's okay when you've gone through something like that, that things at a church may not feel comfortable. But that doesn't mean your spiritual journey has stopped. It means that perhaps those traps, the trappings of religion maybe just are uncomfortable right now, and it's time for you to be looking in other directions to growth and to healing. And I think that that's something we put church on a pedestal sometimes, where we think we have to be a certain way or do certain things to have God love us. And I want to honor the place where anyone is at right now, because we have to remember that God is with us, because we are made in the imago Dei, the image of God. So God is always there, regardless of where we are on our journey.
Yes. Amen, Chris.
Amen.
So another thing I would like to add is that in the queer community, something that is so important is I would call it the gift and opportunity to reclaim things. So in essence, the word queer itself, we've had to reclaim. Growing up in Alabama, I would never say the word queer because it was such a derogatory term. It's actually taken me a very long time in my life to be able to speak that word and not feel gross, right? But in our community, that is something that's beautiful that we've been able to do, is to reclaim and recapture the essence of that word and portray it in a beautiful way, right? And so when we talk about faith and spirituality, I think we also have to reclaim that for ourselves, because it's been used as a weapon against us. But I have news for you. Religion was never intended to be a force of power and rule and domination in the world. It was a way to create meaning and purpose and connection to the divine in life. And that's something we have to reclaim, because religion, if it is oppressive, it's not doing its job, right? It's supposed to give us life and light in the world. And if that's not been your experience, come alongside us. We're here with you. We want to reclaim that for everybody, not just for ourselves. And one of the things I always say is we're blessed to be a blessing. So all the things that I've gleaned in my own faith journey is not just for me. I hope to share those things with the people that I encounter and meet along my journey as well, because religion has been very harmful for me. It continues to hurt, even when I serve in the church. It doesn't mean I found the answer and I've just escaped the oppression. I'm still not ordained. I still face very hateful comments on a daily basis. But it's something that we have to work together to reclaim and give new meaning and purpose in our own lives. So.
And to add to what both Pastor Chris and Pastor Kip were saying, somebody asked in the audience about what our views are on homosexuality and the Bible. And really, there are a bunch of resources out there that you can look at that really break that down and try to put the Bible in a historical context, put the Bible in a look at it through what the words that were used originally and what the words that were used later in translations. And the best thing that I can say to you all is that every translation of the Bible is inherently an interpretation of what is in there. Because every time we translate the Bible, we're translating it to the social norms and the social contracts that exist during that when that Bible was translated. And honestly, no matter what, no matter how many facts we give you, no matter how much we break down the Bible, no matter how much we tell you that no, the Bible is not against homosexuality, the Bible is not against queer people, the Bible is not against any of that, you have to do that work yourself. You have to start their journey yourself, because that's the only way that you will fully embrace that and you will fully embrace yourself. Like I said, there are a lot of resources out there. If you would like to contact any of us, we're happy to share those resources and have more conversations about it. But the work must start with you. The work must start within you and with your drive and your zeal to find liberation within yourself, so that you can then move on and liberate others as well.
That's the amazing recommendation. And guys, you have these three amazing pastors here. You should enjoy this conversation. And I hope, as I said, to see you next time. Just for the last few minutes, where we can find you, Pastor Harold. Give me social media so people can follow you and, just check it out every day. And, we want to see some beautiful message every morning.
Yeah, so my website is called noreservationsgroup.org. If you go there, you will find some of the things that I've written, and you can find all of our social media handles there. I'm still working on the website, so there are some pages that are still under construction, but you can find my email there and you can contact me, and I'm happy to answer whatever questions you might have.
Thank you so much. Pastor Keith?
Yes, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I don't use Twitter that often, but I am on Twitter. All of my handles are the same. It is my name, Kipp, KIPP_Nelson, on all of those platforms. And you can find my church's website, firstchurchmiami.org. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. But yes, firstchurchmiami.org, you'll find some sermons of things that I've preached. You can, reach out to us. We can share resources, all of that.
Thank you so much for that, Pastor Keith. And Pastor Chris?
So my social media, my personal social media everything is at that Chris Wilson, as in THAT, and then my name, Chris Wilson. And the church website is not up yet, but we are currently on Facebook as Mosaic Unity Fellowship. So you can find our Facebook page. It's also in the links below.
Okay, perfect. So you all have their information. You got the social media, no phone numbers. No, we don't need that. But at least you have all the social media and information. And as I said, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all of you for being here with us. This is so powerful. This is priceless. Like for many of our people that are watching us around the world right now, we feel more and more connected to God. And thank God for giving this opportunity just to have you here and helping my LGBT community. Before to finish, let me invite you guys just to check it out. This Thursday, 7 p.m., Unity Coalition is doing our virtual Elevate Summer Camp, and also with collaboration with Sunshine Field. So you want to get more information and participate, you want to watch the movie, we're going to dance, we're going to do something, because I'm your campy con counselor. So I'm going to be doing something fun and something perfectly Elevate Virtual Summer Camp. Remember, 4 p.m. Thursday, this Thursday, what not to love. We're going to be doing fun and having very, very good time all together. And we are still helping the community. Just keeping your masks on, because this is not over. Sigan utilizando su máscara porque esto no se ha terminado. Before to finish, let me continue and remind you, Unity Coalition is helping the service community. So go and donate to the website unitycoalition.org o en español coalicionunida.org. Go and click donate, but if you don't got money, that's not a problem, honey. Just go and share on your social media. There's somebody else that's gonna help us. This is UCTV. Today is Monday, and it was an amazing topic and discussion. I'm your host, Samantha Letois, and we want to say congratulations to Independence Day to all my people in Colombia. Enjoy your day, be safe, put your mask on, and wash your hands. See you next time, and remember, Unity Coalition have everything for you: music, entertainment, and news. I'm your host, Samantha Letois. See you next time. Oh.